What if divine beings across all faiths are actually the same spiritual force? Here's something that might blow your mind. Every major religion on earth talks about celestial messengers, spiritual guides, divine helpers. Christianity has its angels Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. Islam speaks of the same Gabriel, called Jibril, who revealed the Quran. Judaism shares these same angelic beings. But it doesn't stop there. Hinduism has devas, radiant beings from higher realms. Buddhism speaks of bodhisattvas, enlightened entities helping souls evolve. Norse traditions honor Valkyries and light elves. Pagan paths recognize nature spirits and elemental guardians. Different names, different stories. But what if they're all the same? Think about this for a second. What if there's one universal divine consciousness, one supreme source of everything, and from that source, extensions flow out, sparks of light, messengers, helpers, each carrying a specific frequency, a particular mission? Now imagine that throughout history, every culture encountered these presences and named them according to their language, their worldview, their spiritual framework. The result? The same celestial force being called an angel here, deva there, a spirit somewhere else. This actually makes perfect sense when you look at their roles. Michael is the warrior of light, the protector against darkness. In Hinduism, Indra serves the same purpose, a divine warrior, king of the devas, defender of righteousness. Coincidence? Or universal archetypes manifesting through different cultural lenses? Gabriel is God's messenger in Christianity and Islam. In Hinduism, Narada serves as the divine messenger. See the pattern? It's like humanity collectively knew, instinctively, that higher forces exist with specific purposes and functions. Here's where it gets beautiful. What if these beings don't belong to any specific religion, but to all of us? What if they're available to anyone who opens their heart to the sacred, regardless of what name you use to call them? This doesn't weaken faith. It strengthens it, because it means divine love, celestial protection, spiritual guidance. All of it is universal. No borders, no owners. It belongs to all humanity. So here's your challenge. Pick an angel, deva, a spirit guide from any tradition. Take a deep breath, quiet your mind, and simply ask for help, for guidance. Doesn't matter if you come from Christianity, Hinduism, paganism, or no formal religion at all. The connection is real. The answer comes because the source is one. Drop celestial in the comments. If you feel these divine presences in your life, which tradition connects you most deeply to the sacred? Share below. If this perspective is opening your mind, hit that like button and subscribe for content that will transform your spiritual journey. How ancient civilizations created identical gods without ever meeting each other. Now, let's talk about something that sends chills down your spine. Civilizations separated by oceans, by mountains, by thousands of years, that never had any contact with each other. Yet they created gods with almost identical characteristics. How is that even possible? The conventional answer would be coincidence. But really? Or is something far deeper going on here? Look at this. The Egyptians worship Ra, the sun god, source of all life and light. The Aztecs had Huitzilopochtli, also a solar deity, warrior and vital force. The Greeks honored Apollo, god of light and truth. Hindus revere Surya, the personified sun. Norse people celebrated Sol, the goddess who drove the sun across the sky. These cultures never talked, never exchanged letters, never knew each other existed. Yet they all looked at the sun and saw not just a star, but divinity itself. Why? Because deep in the human soul, there's an ancestral memory, an innate perception that greater forces govern existence. And these forces manifest through nature, through celestial bodies, through the elements. So when different peoples look at the same natural phenomenon, they're actually touching the same spiritual truth. The sun isn't just physical light. It's a symbol of the divine, of consciousness, of life that never dies. Every culture recognized this. Now think about war gods. Ars in Greece, Mars in Rome, Tyre among the Norse, Skanda in Hinduism, Huitzilopochtli among the Aztecs. All represent strength, courage, protection through combat. Why this repetition? Because the archetype of the divine warrior exists in humanity's collective psyche. It's not invention, it's recognition. It's as if our soul knew there's a protective energy, a force fighting for justice, and each culture simply gave a face, a name, a story to that energy. And mother goddesses? Isis in Egypt, Gaia in Greece, Pachamama in the Andes, Devi in Hinduism, Frigg among the Norse, all represent fertility, creation, vernal protection, the nurturing earth. Did everyone make this up out of nowhere? Or did everyone perceive the same truth, that there's a divine feminine force, generative, nurturing, sustaining all life? Take a breath and feel this. Maybe the gods aren't human creations. Maybe they're human perceptions of spiritual realities. What if every culture is actually mapping the same divine territory, just using different maps? Comment archetype if this is resonating with you. Which of these deities touches your soul most deeply? Drop your like if this journey is expanding your consciousness. And stay tuned because we're going even deeper. Why do Allah, God, Brahman, and Odin feel like different names for one universal truth? Let's go deeper now. Every major faith speaks of one ultimate reality, one supreme source. Christians call it God the Father. Muslims say Allah. Hindus speak of Brahman. Buddhists refer to the Dharma, universal truth itself. Pagans honor the Great Spirit, the divine essence flowing through everything. Norse traditions pointed to the Allfather. Different words, different cultures, different eras. But what if the essence has always been one? Think of it like this. When you look at the ocean, you might call it by different names depending on where you are. The Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian Ocean. But underneath all those names, it's still one interconnected body of water. What if God is like that? What if humanity, across centuries and continents, simply gave different names to what has always been the same infinite consciousness? This idea doesn't diminish any faith. Actually, it expands everything. It connects us. It reminds us that, fundamentally, we're all seeking the same thing in love, transcendence. It reminds us that the longing for the divine isn't cultural, it's human. It's wired into our very existence. Now breathe into this realization. Every religion, at its core, teaches love, compassion, evolution of the soul. Every faith speaks of realms beyond the physical, of invisible forces guiding us, of a greater purpose to existence. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't it incredible to think that maybe we're all looking at the same mountain, just from different sides? Each person describes what they see from their perspective, but the mountain is one. So here's an invitation. Next time you hear about another religion, another god, another way of praying, pause and ask yourself, what if this is just another name for what I already know in my heart? That question can be revolutionary. It can open doors inside you that you didn't even know existed. This journey isn't about abandoning your faith. It's about expanding your understanding. It's about realizing that spirituality is so much bigger than any single label or doctrine. What if unity has been the truth all along, and we just forgot? What if remembering this could heal not just individuals, but the entire world? Drop unity in the comments if this truth is touching your heart. How does this shift your view of other spiritual paths? Smash that like button and subscribe, because what comes next will change everything. What if God is the living consciousness flowing through everything and everyone? Here's where everything comes together. What if God isn't a separate entity up in the sky, judging, controlling, deciding, but rather the consciousness itself that flows through absolutely everything? What if God is the fabric of reality, the essence of every atom, every thought, every heartbeat? What if, when you pray to Allah, to Yahweh, to Brahman, to the universe, you're actually connecting with the very source of existence that lives both within you and beyond you? This changes everything, because it means there's no separation. You're not down here begging someone up there. You're an integral part of this divinity. Each of us is a wave in the infinite ocean of universal consciousness. And the names, the rituals, the prayers, they're just different ways of diving deeper into that ocean. Christianity dives through Christ. Islam through surrender to Allah, Hinduism through union with Brahman, Buddhism through awakening, paganism through connection with nature, different paths, same destination. You know what's liberating about this? Realizing that no religion has a monopoly on truth. All of them hold pieces of it. All are valid. All are sacred. And when you understand this, spirituality stops being about right versus wrong. It stops being my religion versus yours. And it becomes about recognizing the divine everywhere, in all forms, in all people. It becomes about respect, compassion, unity. Imagine if instead of religious wars, intolerance, and division, humanity realized we're all worshiping the same source, just with different accents. Imagine the peace that would bring, the collective healing, the end of hatred in God's name. Because how can you hate someone in the name of the divine, when the divine exists in that person too? So here's the final invitation. Around you, look at people from other faiths, other beliefs, other paths. Take a deep breath and recognize that same divine spark shining in you is shining in them too. And when you do this, when you truly feel this, something shifts. You're no longer just a follower of a religion. You become a seeker of truth. And the truth, my friend, is so much bigger than any doctrine could ever contain. Comment awakening if you felt this universal connection. How has this perspective shifted your spirituality? Hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Let's spread unity and divine love together.